Welcome to the deep dive. We're jumping straight into the pretty wild world of crypto today.
Absolutely. Lots happening.
Yeah, forget wading through everything. We've basically boiled it down to the essentials for you. You know, the big price shifts, regulation changes, even some new scams to watch out for.
And the biggest headline has to be Bitcoin, right? That price surge was something else.
It really was. We saw it rocket up to nearly $112,000. The peak was $111,970 on May 22nd, still holding strong near $111,000 the next day. What's really pushing this?
Well, the main driver seems to be a huge amount of money flowing into those U.S. spot Bitcoin ETFs.
The exchange-traded funds that actually hold Bitcoin?
Exactly. We're talking about $2.75 billion flowing in. That's a big signal.
Signals strong institutional belief, maybe, and optimism about U.S. regulations.
Yeah, I think both, which brings us to the regulation side of things. That seems to be shifting too.
Right. Tell us about this Genius Act. Sounds important.
It is, mostly because it's got bipartisan support in the Senate. It's aimed at regulating stablecoins.
Okay, stable coins, and it's got some notable backers.
It does. David Sachs, for one. He's actually suggested it could mean, well, trillions for the U.S. Treasury and help the dollar globally.
Trillions. Wow, okay. But politics always plays a role, doesn't it?
Definitely. While you have that bipartisan support for the act itself, some Democrats are voicing concerns, particularly around former President Trump's increasing activity in the crypto space.
Oh, right. They're watching him closely.
Very closely.
And Trump has been active. That dinner for the Trumpy meme coin holders, for instance, that was something.
Something is one way to put it. A pretty lavish event, for investors in a meme coin. Some big names were there.
And that drew criticism.
Oh, yeah. Some Democrats labeled it, I think the phrase was an orgy of corruption, especially when you connect it to his family's own crypto finance venture. It's quite a turnaround from his earlier stance.
A massive turnaround. Okay, so mainstream attention is growing, but security issues are still a major headache, right?
That's the real tension here. You see, Coinbase joining the S&P 500, huge milestone, really validates the space in a way.
A very big deal.
But then, almost in the same breath, you hear about a DOJ investigation, a potential $400 million cyber attack.
Oof. How did that happen?
It looks like maybe less than 1% of customer data was hit, but the concerning part is it seems to involve employee payoffs, sort of an insider threat angle.
That's worrying. And it's not just digital attacks either, is it? I heard about some, physical scams.
You did. They're getting sophisticated.
Yeah.
There's this one phishing scam using actual physical letters made to look like they're from Ledger, the hardware wallet company.
Fake letters in the mail. Seriously.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Shows how far scammers will go using trust and even old school methods. You've got to stay vigilant.
No kidding.
Okay.
Zooming out a bit, what else is stirring in the wider crypto world? Ethereum's been active.
Yeah, what's interesting there is the Ethereum Foundation pushing their trillion-dollar security initiative, trying to make the network stronger.
Proactive security, good to see. But the price has been a bit choppy.
It has. Ether hit around $2,700, then dipped back to $2,400. Just a reminder, it's still a volatile market.
Always is. And stablecoins, they just keep growing, don't they?
Unbelievably. Get this. Last year, stablecoin transaction volume actually beat Visa and MasterCard combined.
Wow. Combined.
And Tether's still the big one.
Yeah.
Holding over 60% of that market.
Yeah.
Shows how central they're becoming.
That's huge on a global scale. But locally, things can be different, like with crypto mining.
That's a great point. We're seeing pushback. Fannin County in Georgia, for example, banned Bitcoin mining. Noise, environmental concerns, and now a state commission there is advising other rural counties to think about restrictions too. So a real clash between these big trends and local issues.
Yeah, quite a contrast to traditional finance warming up, isn't it?
It really is. You've got Jamie Dimon at JP Morgan, longtime crypto skeptic, right?
Famously so.
Now saying the bank will let clients buy Bitcoin. That's a major shift from a giant like JP Morgan. Underscores that growing acceptance.
Definitely. Okay, one last thing we need to touch on was X in India. Sounds like users are still stuck.
Yeah, it's a tough situation. That moratorium on the exchange is still going. Users haven't been able to get their funds for, over 6 months now?
6 months. Since the hack.
Since that big $230 million hack. The exchange is trying to restructure out of Singapore, but yeah, that just highlights the risks still out there on some platforms.
Okay, so let's quickly recap. Bitcoin's soaring on ETF hype and regulatory hope. Regulation itself is moving, but with political angles. Mainstream adoption like Coinbase is happening, but security threats, even physical ones, are getting smarter.
Right, and stable coins are dominating payments, while local areas push back on mining. And some users face real platform challenges. It's dynamic.
Dynamic is the word. A lot going on. Advancements and challenges side by side. So, here's something to think about. As traditional finance gets more involved and stablecoins challenge the old payment rails, how do you see these threads weaving together? How might this actually reshape global finance in the next few years? And maybe more importantly, what opportunities or even challenges could that create for you?
Definitely something to mull over.
It is. Thanks for diving deep with us today.